Okay, good morning traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and we'll do live analysis. We do this every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Live trading will be tomorrow with JTrader at 10 a.m. East Coast time, and then Thursday with Scott Pulcini, JTrader. At 10 a.m. as well, a futures trader. So our whole education in a nutshell here. We have an educational course, then we go through it in a live analysis every day or 3 days a week here, and then we also have different traders go through how they trade, and this will complete your education here. Really trying to cover all of the bases here. Let's go through the disclosures, and we're going to jump right into the S&P E-mini or stocks or crypto, whatever it is that you guys want to look at. So general disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Know what you're getting involved in here. This is for education only. All right, well, let's take a look at these wild markets and see what's going on. We had some retail sales data this morning. We had the CPI last Friday. That's why we had this precipitous drop, and the drop continued, and then here we are today with a drop down to 37.50. Just tagged it at the cash open, and then it we have a little double bottom off of it and a bounce right back up. And we talked about this in yesterday's action, like how we can see I need to be really careful managing some of these trade ideas in here, because the moves are huge. The pullbacks are also just as big, or not quite just as big, but they can be brutal. So, taking profits in some of your specific areas after gaining a lot is something to look into and consider, all right, and not give back and feel the pain of giving back when these markets retrace so violently. So let's take a look here. We'll jump in the bigger picture and take a look at the 15-minute here. Hold on a minute. Let me just get this up. 15-minute chart here on the right, for the cash session only. The hour chart here on the in the middle for the cash session, and then we have the daily chart here on the left. All right, and then mark up some zones in here. So we're going to have to kind of zoom out a little bit more, I think, on the daily. Maybe look at a weekly, and I have that up here, so we can take a look at that. I'll have to jump over to investing.com, and we can take a look at it here if you like. So the weekly, and just trying to understand where some of these levels are, because they're way back here, back in February 20, kind of late February of 2021. This is when we were at these levels before. So we're coming back down and testing into some of these levels here. So take a look at some of these areas in here. Here's our week already. So here's last week. Here's the current week right here. We've already moved quite a bit. So we can continue moving, looking for maybe retesting some of these lows in this area here. And we're just trying to get a bigger picture of where we might be going in these markets and why. Now we want to take a look also, maybe your volume profile trader. I don't know if you have your profile. I imagine we're probably at the point of control somewhere right in here. We can also see this week from this was March, beginning of March, the retest here, and then the rejection out of that area, and then it led to a bull market for several weeks, as you guys can see, to all-time highs again and again and again. So anyway, you'll have to kind of look at your bigger picture analysis of what it is you're looking at. If you're looking at a profile, if you're looking at the swings, I'm kind of curious on the profile. I don't have that data, but looking at the swings here as well. So we have a swing low here around 37.21, and then down here around 36.70 or something like that, which looks like a pretty interesting little level. I like it quite a bit, or interesting big level. Maybe we'll come down and visit those areas. So we're just getting kind of a feel for what's going on in some of these moves in here. And where the price might go, and where we might look for a potential bounce out of those areas. We have a lot of data this week. We just had our retail sales. We have tomorrow, we have FOMC. It is a big one. There's projections, there's the press release, there's the number, there's the statement. It's a multi-release, and it is a complex release. Just the statement alone, you have to read through it and understand. I mean, the number is going to be the knee-jerk reaction immediately, but the statement's going to be really important as well. The projections are going to be, everything's going to be important. It always is. And then in terms of news, well, it's kind of back to the same old thing here. We're looking at this inflation data, as well as some of the geopolitical stuff that's going on out there. All right, so pretty heavy week, like I said. And just trying to get a feel for what's going on. So here we are on the daily chart, and you can see today we're kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit on the daily, at least. On the hourly chart, you can see the kind of wick down here and the move back up into the middle of the range, clearly with a downward slant to it on this hourly here. And then also on the 15-minute, you can even see just a beautiful trend. You can draw on a beautiful trend line right here, and it's still holding that trend. So anyway, yeah, so we're bearish until we see something different, but that's kind of the bigger picture. So let's jump back into Bookmap and see what's going on. And what's going on now in today's action? Well, you can see from about 6 o'clock onwards to about just after 10 here, this has been very choppy and very sideways. Okay, we have the data here at 8:30. You can see the move to the upside. And then it chopped around in here, and then you see the move to the downside. All right, and sellers coming right back in here right now. So let's take a look at some of the market structure in here, and then we're going to look at the the details in the order flow. And I want to cover market structure a little bit differently today. Instead of kind of zooming out and taking a look at it, I'm going to zoom into the microstructure, and we're going to define the microstructure, and we're going to apply that to the bigger picture here. Okay? So it's going to be kind of the opposite direction, and a lot of traders that kind of throws them for a loop, understanding or trying to understand or piece together how fractal these markets are. And what do I mean by fractal? That on the very small time frame, it is the same as on the much higher time frame. Okay, so yeah, let's start right there and see what's see where we might be going here. We'll mark up the structure here. So I'm going to go through it rather quickly, and I want to also show you where you can find more information about it. It's our Bookmap education. Okay, so on our YouTube page, scroll down. You can see the crypto webinar series we had last week if you guys want to review that. You see the live streaming recordings in here, and then scroll down a little bit further. You can see the educational course here. Okay, under bonus materials, click on view full playlist here. Okay, this is all free. Now, this was I think back in 2018 when we did this. However, this is it's evergreen content. It'll always work. So it's just order flow, and it's very kind of basic order flow, but don't be fooled by that. Okay, so for example, here we're looking at intro to the basic market mechanics and what moves the market, and this is really essential to understand. Okay, and this is where we're going to start today, and we're going to try to go through it quickly and just understand things like this. What makes price move? Okay, on the most binary level. Okay, so let's start here, Let's zoom into these markets. Okay, so what makes price move? All right, well, that's quite simple. It's traders. It is the orders. In specific here, what makes price move is the aggressive orders. And what do I mean by that? It is the market buy and the market sell orders. They are the ones, like when you hit market buy, you are not placing your order on the best bid here. You're taking liquidity off of the best offer. So you're actually eating into the liquidity that is here on the best offer. If there is enough market buy orders here, it will continue to eat through all the liquidity here. You can see we have 25 contracts here, but only 11 in the CVP column or volume profile here. Only 11 traded right there. Okay, there's probably a lot more than that. If we zoom in, we can see all the individual orders here. Okay, when we zoom out, we kind of aggregate them together to make it simplistic for you and get an overall feel of what happened even on these very small time frames. Okay, so in fact, we're showing you here that you can see that this transaction took place. It's actually a stop run as well, or stops were triggered here, and then best bid and offer updated. Okay, so this is how these markets work. We're looking at microsecond levels in here, so millions of seconds, and we're going to extrapolate this to the weekly chart. It is no different. This is what I mean by fractal. Okay, so here we are looking at this, and you can see the update later here, and this is not an error. The trade data arrives first, and then best bid and offer update. If you take enough liquidity with your market buy orders here, and let's say you have 20, well, at this point you have there's 37 here. Oh, I'm sorry. After this transaction, there's 26 now. Well, if you hit market buy for and you had 27, then you're going to move price up one tick, and you're going to take one off of here, and it'll be 47 left on the best offer. You have just moved price up one tick. It is the aggressive action here of the market buy orders that moved price. That's why when traders look at volume, let's just take that simple concept and extrapolate that to a bigger move. Okay, and we'll just look at today's action. A move like this here. Why did this move take place? And let's dim the heat map here. Look at the buy orders come in. Okay, this is no different in concept. They're the ones that are moving price. And there's enough buyers in here to continue to eat away at that liquidity until it reaches up to another level here. And then, well, it can continue to go if there's more buyers here. It seems to kind of level off here, and then it does continue to go to the upside here. Okay, in concept, this is no different here. All right, now let's take that and we can extrapolate that to the higher time frame. Okay, that is no different than looking at your candlestick chart here on the weekly. These moves in here, there's a lot of selling in here last week and this week too. Okay, but where are the sellers going to go? Where might price take a break? Where might it bounce? And then that's where we look left to previous areas where there was buying and selling. You look at your, as we mentioned, maybe your point of control of this volume, or several weeks in here, 4 or 5 weeks in here. The most traded level. Maybe you're looking at some of the swings in here and retests and bounces, and we're just kind of getting down into those areas now. So it still has a little bit of room to go. So maybe we'll see like a pullback and a retrace, or in another move back down to some of these lows in here. Right. So anyway, this move to the downside here is similar to these other moves when you see the aggressor moving price. Okay, here's the aggressive sellers moving price. Here's a bit of a pullback, maybe some profit taking here, and they come in again and hit the bid hard again. All right, so understanding on the micro structural levels in here, okay, what's moving price is no different, okay, from these very, very small time frames on up. In fact, we are looking at just two elements here in Bookmap, and we're getting a lot of insight here already. Okay, we have price structure. And what do I mean by price structure? Okay, let's take the volume dots off the transactions. This is just best bid and offer. And you can see it going back and forth in here. It revisits some of these areas in here, and it found enough buyers to break above this swing here. Look at the pullback here. Where did that pullback go to? Well, likely this is, see this little area in here where it's back and forth? This is likely going to be a high volume node. Okay, we can see it actually over here. If I zoom in and just put this data in here, yeah, it's actually one tick above is the high volume node there. But nonetheless, yeah, somewhere around in here, and it pulled back to that and bounced off of it. Likely we're not going to find many sellers here, very few, and we're going to start to find some buyers over here, and they're going to lift the offer and start to chew through that liquidity again on the best offer, okay, on the depth of the offer. Again, this move in here, this pullback and this move, we're looking at 5 seconds between each vertical dotted line. Okay, that is no different really in concept than what we were looking at here previously. Okay, so this would be like a pullback here on this weekly chart, and then we look at the continuation here. All right, let me know if you have any questions on this, because this is important. It's important to understand what makes these markets move, and then instead of just understanding something like indicators and I don't know, candlesticks or even volume profile, if you don't understand what your volume profile is showing you, and you're just like, oh well, I'm supposed to buy or sell at the low volume node and then trade it back to the high volume node. Yeah, okay, why though? Understand these markets and understand how it can even blaze through. See this high volume node right here? Well, if we get some sellers down below it here, we're looking for the lows, okay, right back down to here, okay, just based off of this right here and understanding this concept in here. Okay, so let's see it. Do we get enough sellers here? Let's turn on the volume dots. Okay, not bad. Let's see it. Looking for sellers, and if we do, I'm looking for a break right back down to about 52.25, or let's just call it 52. And we got some sellers here. Buyers come back in and battle it on the other side. And let's see if we get more sellers back down here. All right, now let's see the move. Maybe we get down to 51.5 here. Okay, just based off of that concept right there. Okay, and there's our move. Beautiful. All right, so again, understanding the order flow instead of like this is a high volume node and like we're going to bounce back and forth in here. No, we're looking for sellers at the bottom of this range in here and for the move lower to go through that area and continue onwards to the downside. Okay, just looking at volume and this price structure in here. This is a consolidation period that we're talking about. Okay, this consolidation period here is, like I said, it is no different than understanding this this is a consolidation in here. See, the buyers lift it, it consolidated, and then sellers start to come in here. Okay, looking for them to lift, hit the bid and take price lower, okay, which is what they did. All right, so like I said, you can zoom into the micro levels in here and understand these areas here. Now let's zoom out, okay, and we're only showing volume in here. We haven't gone through the heat map and liquidity, which is the other side of the trade, which is essential to understand as well. Just looking at volume in here is good, understanding the aggressor action, but understanding the other side of the trade is where Bookmap really shines. Okay, so high liquidity in here, understanding that it's trading into high liquidity or iceberg transactions. Why didn't price drop lower here, right in here? Look at all that selling. They should have been able to drop it down to 43.5 or 42. Well, you can see there's an iceberg order on the other side here. Okay, and it was pretty good size. It was about 200 or 250 or so. Let's turn on the on chart icebergs and take a look. Okay, we should get a reading there as it's yeah, so there we go. Yeah, okay, so it's kind of it didn't make the we covered this yesterday. It didn't quite make the cutoff that we have here, but 205 is what transacted in here in terms of icebergs. Okay, so it's kind of grayed out here in a transparency, or 255 I should say, and you also see a stop run in here. Here's some beautiful information, some beautiful insight. That the stop run happened here on these three price levels here for 233 contracts, and we also have another trader or an iceberg on the other side here absorbing some of these moves in here with the stop losses. They're on the other side of the trade. That's who these traders who are getting stopped out are trading with. Okay, so if you want that kind of transparency, that's with the MBO package. And this is why we did not trade back down lower here into these areas. Okay, so what we're talking about now is another level of depth or understanding here of what's going on in these markets. Okay, understanding the other side of the trade. Okay, not just the aggressors. Okay, and this has actually led to a beautiful move right back up. Okay, now let's take a look at the market structure that we we're just talking about. Consolidations, trends, moves back up, break of the consolidation and move back up. Okay, so for example, looking at the bigger picture here for today, here we go. All right, so let's just zoom out and look at the bigger picture structure. Very simple stuff. Okay, here's a consolidation period here. Here's our breakout. Okay, look at the volume in here. Okay, this should make very clear sense. It is the aggressor that moves price. They were able to break above and continue on up, and it took data here, in fact, and the move actually took place here at the data release. A quick move up, more buyers, and it continued higher. So we have a new zone or a new level where price is accepting. Okay, up here. Now that level broke as well, and it broke down into, and you can see there's buying and selling in here, and now we have the 930 cash open right around here, and we see the sellers taking control and moving price down. Okay, where do they move price down to? We'll look at some of these levels of liquidity in here. All right, so it's really starting to understand the pieces in this market here and what makes up the price action. Okay, it's all here in Bookmap. It's all visualized. Okay, so this is why we hold these advanced webinars so that you can look at this data but use it for any type of trading strategy. You might be a volume profile trader, great. You might be looking at Wyckoff and areas of markup, markdown, distribution, etc. Then you can also look at the same concepts here, but you can understand it via the order flow. Okay, so a lot of back and forth here, to be honest, because it broke down. Okay, and then it broke down again here, and you can even see the little like a W pattern in here, and then it broke out. Okay, back up, and then so it's really kind of all over the place here, but it's probing and testing these areas, trading into high liquidity, and breaking down below it, etc. Okay, we were looking for that move and break into 52. And it did, and the lows as well, and it did that and then some. So let's take a look at the current market and see what's going on. Let's take a step back and let me ask for any questions that you guys have. Yeah, because we're going through the whole process in here, and this is our basic education. Is there any questions on this? Okay, giving an overview, but I think I really encourage you to watch that educational course part 1 and part 2. And then once it will allow you to look at maybe your strategies and your setups in a very different way. Okay, so you want to look at Matt, you want to look at my Iceberg settings? Sure. Okay, on chart, this is what I'm looking at here. I've got the automatic, and I love this feature. 60 minutes, and I have a 2 multiplier, a standard deviation multiplier here. So it has to show here. My God, was it one? At least a transaction has to be of 149 icebergs. Okay? So in order for this to show me something. Okay, for the current market, you can see there's 15 right here, and it's the 15 is not part of the filter for the current market. So someone started to transact right in here, and they're still here waiting to transact. Okay, so price is just about to hit them as well. So you can see we don't see really too many here icebergs. Most of them are grayed out or and a transparency. We see 179 here, 222 here, and boy, that's about it. All the rest are kind of aggregated. They're large icebergs. Like we looked at that 255, or here it is, 346 down here, but it's not showing because it wasn't 149 that met the criteria, okay, to display. So we're looking at individual ones for 149 or greater. Okay, and then on the subchart, I'm using cumulative volume delta or summation for the and the axes are not aligned in here. All right, so let's see, we're kind of breaking down to lows again here. Yeah, well, basically looking for 37.40 here. I'm not seeing a whole lot of selling at the moment here, so we might just kind of chop around in here for a bit, but I am looking for sellers, but down here, okay, because we're not seeing them right now. In fact, this is a beautiful little possible counter trend move up into about 48 or 50 here, okay, because there's sellers here, there's a lack of sellers, and there's buyers up here. But it's a very tricky move here. It's a counter trend move, and see how they didn't really break the structure here. So we're going to get the stop run into our 40 level here is what I'm trying to get to, because it's likely going to happen here. But we look at this pattern in here, and it's setting up really nicely, but they just can't seem to break above the swing here at 46.25. They're trying, and they just can't do it. And how can we get some insight to that possible counter trend scalp to the upside in here? Here's how. We're looking at first off the structure and the volume within the structure, and then secondly we want to look at the order book. Okay, in the order book here, it's not really showing us much. Okay, what we want to see is them bidding up at a higher level in here, and we don't see really that there's a little bit maybe in here, but it's not much. And we want to see if there's any offers over here, maybe them starting to pull that offer. And to see how the order book, we covered this one yesterday. It's not really showing us too much in here. We're just kind of hacking around in here, and we're not really seeing any of the orders kind of defining some of these areas where they want to be buyers on the bid, or they want to be sellers on the offer. Okay, actually this is where they want to be buyers. It's down here at our 40 level. So we just transacted right into it. Okay, they stayed in the order book. So this kind of liquidity here is the most important to understand, because it transacted. Okay, they stayed in the order book. They had the intent to trade. Okay, and they did, and you can see this is where we bounced out of it. Now here's our double bottom pattern yet again. Now this one is shaping up differently. We still don't see a lot here on the bid or anything on the offer to give us much insight, but this one played out, and here's how. Let's just go through it. First off, we traded in high liquidity on the bid at 37.40. We retest it here. There's sellers here. There's lack of sellers here. There's buyers back up to the swing here. Okay, and they actually did break the swing. We retest back down here. Lack of sellers again. This is exhaustion on the sell side. And then we get more buyers back up here. Okay, we're looking for them to break the swing and maybe to come up into here, or maybe up into here, the swings. Okay, or the liquidity. Or maybe your high volume nodes, whatever it is. Okay, 37.50. We're looking for 48 before. Let's see if did we get up there. Well, there you go. There's your answer. Okay, so yeah, right to 50. All right, so this is how you can start to use this to your advantage. Understand the order flow, understand when these moves might unfold. Now, of course, this is hindsight here. But we would be looking for this as we were over here in that other area. I think it was here. And this one worked out. This one did not, right? We're looking for, actually, since they could not break the swing here, we're looking for those sellers to come in and drive it into 40, which is exactly what they did. Okay, here we'd be looking for them to drive it back up into some of these areas, or high liquidity. Now the high liquidity, well, it did trade it at 50. These guys did stay in the order book here up at 50. Okay, so that's notable, okay, to understand here. All right, no questions in YouTube. Interesting. All right. Let's guys, I mean, you know, I think the discussion, I'd like to continue the discussions from YouTube, just move it right on over into Discord if possible. You know, instead of trying to read two chats here, because we have a really nice Discord group. You guys have been very dedicated, and you come here every day, and we're, you know, we get to know you and really enjoy the chats back and forth, and you have a lot of good insights and good questions. So I prefer to have the chat over in our Discord community. Okay, but anyway, trying to read two of these chats is sometimes a little more challenging. All right, guys, so still kind of hacking around in here, but anyway, a few nice moves in here, and let's see where we might go again. All right, well, let's take a look at this. So here we can see liquidity here on the offer. Okay, just around, now they're at a lower level here. Okay, and they're just about to trade. Okay, now we're getting a little bit of insight from the order book here. See how they're staying in the order book here, and now they're up here at 52. See the bid in here as well, starting to kind of bid up a little bit. All right, so if we get enough buyers in here, I'd be looking for the move up into 52. Okay, I don't like it in general. I like it when we see a lot more in the order book here on the bid. See how these guys pulled? Look at the shift here in the order book. Okay, so we're kind of looking for this move into 52, but noted this is pretty dark in here, and we can trade back down to these levels here. Okay, now we're seeing a shift on the offer. What is the reaction by price? Well, here we go. Okay, they seem to be kind of interested. Now sellers hammer it. All right, well, let's see if we get more sellers and trade back down to 40. We have some icebergs buying in there. Icebergs on either side, though, both sides, 171 here and 222. Yeah, McLoco, I hear you. FOMC tomorrow, so we just might be chopping around here all day. Or you get a lot of speculation on the days prior, what it might be, what the Fed might do, because we had the retail sales to give us maybe a little bit of insight here. I didn't get too much out of that retail sales. I don't know if you guys did, but yeah, that makes it even more likely for chop. Okay, you find the video quality is actually better on YouTube. Interesting. All right. Well, we can only have 50 in here for Discord. This is the drawback. This is why we had to jump over to YouTube, as you guys know. And then there's just a bit of a delay in YouTube, a few seconds. All right, here we are right back down. We're getting our sellers here. Now let's see if they can break this here. Looking for the break into 40. And yeah, again, yeah, I would say it's probably the most likely move, but we're just not getting much out of the order book still here right now. It just traded into this liquidity. They did stay in the order book here at 44. So you can see how important the order book is here. See how it really kind of shifted and changed in here, and we saw the move that price made. Okay, so we're not getting too much out of it here at the moment. Okay, let's see if we get sellers here at 44 3/4. If we do, we'll come back down and visit 43. And then they've probably got enough selling in here to break it down to 41 or 40 here. See, it's just all over the place here. We're not getting those sellers. We're getting buyers here. They're going to try to move it right back up to 50. Very, very choppy here at the moment. And you can see that how well in this example here, how much the order book really matters. It's just we're not getting too much out of it, and the aggressors can move. They have kind of liberty to move price around like this. Okay. Anyway, the liquidity is down here at 40. Here are sellers. They should be able to reach it now. Okay, I would be looking for this move into 40 and to 38, maybe into 36 as well. Okay, and that's where the liquidity is. Seems to be attracted to it, so still looking for that move into 40 again. Okay, it's a little bit on the offer at a lower level here, not much. Okay, here we go again. Another test, another rotation. You can see how the market probes these areas in here. Sees if there is some sort of supply or demand in some of these areas, and how far can these aggressors push it? Can they push it back up here? Can they kind of ignite some stops up here? Maybe push it up to 50 again. So don't get caught up in this kind of stuff. I just wanted to mention in general, this is where the liquidity is. We know that it's right here. It's advertising. It's at 40, 37 or 38 and then 36. So we're basically looking for that in kind of the bigger picture here, or a medium time frame picture, looking for that move into this liquidity. Okay, here we go. Here comes another rotation. Still looking for it, looking for these sellers to hit into 40. Okay, yeah, I mean, how would I take this trade? I would get in here around 43 now, I don't think I would actually on this move, to be honest, because of the order book. But basically, the concept here is that the sellers are going to come in here, break the range back down into 40. Okay, and maybe lower. We'll get a move out of this here. Okay, away from this area here. Yeah, that's true, McLocal. We might trade into all this liquidity in here, and then find buyers come roaring back in. Yeah, that's true. Here's our move, guys. This is what we're looking for. Look at the flip of the order book here. Okay, so they were on the bid here. Now they're on the offer here, and we're still finding sellers. So we're still looking for this to move lower. Look at this. Look at how aggressive they are. Okay, a lot of traders very aggressively. Now see how we're getting more out of the order book. Still looking for 35 or 36 down here. They're pulling. See how they're pulled here? See how much more we can get out of this? Looking for lower. 35. There's 35. Okay, and now you see we want to see them. We're still trading lower, and we still see them on the bid here. I'm sorry, on the offer here, but they're up a little bit higher here. Here we go. Now they're lower. Still looking for the move lower. Okay, 33, maybe down to 30, 31, and 30 here. Okay, but see how they're just not quite. They weren't quite as aggressive in here. It's a little bit of I mean, it's a slight change, and then they came in here at this 36 here, or I'm sorry, is it 36 3/4? Okay, see now they pull. Okay, what is the reaction? How did price react to that? Okay, it's kind of pulled right in the middle of the range, basically. Okay, so see how it opens the door here for potentially, if there's no one on the offer up here, buyers can rip back into these areas here, back to 38 right here, or maybe back to 40 here. That flip of the order book we saw earlier. Okay, we continue on lower. We didn't break structure. Again, we talked about this one yesterday. We have to see the buyers back up above, not equal to, or not a shoot above and then back in. We want to see it break. Here it's breaking. Okay, great. Let's move on up back to 40. Let's see if we can retest 40 here. Looking for these buyers to move it, rip it back up to 40. And we should see a nice stop run. I haven't seen any stops yet. I'm looking for them. Likely it's going to be back up above 40. So we might even see it move higher than 40 here. See how, now let's see how they pulled at 40. They don't want to be sellers now at 40. They're up a little bit higher, 41. There's our rip. Okay. All right, so let's just cover this here because we went through this kind of quickly. We had to. We didn't really get too much insight in here in the back and forth. We were just looking for 40, kind of in the medium time frame picture. We got it, and then everything lit up. Everything kind of shifted and changed in here. They started to pull this liquidity at 38. They were on the offer here. We found sellers. We're still looking for it to go lower. They pull at 36 in here. Still looking for it to go lower. They're offering lower in here. We had kind of a gap in here for a bit, and it's like, maybe the buyers can kind of move it back up and retest these areas here. But then they show up again here at 36 3/4, and then they pulled, which was kind of curious. We did make a lower low here, but then we were reading these areas. We're actually reading this. They pulled here, and then we're reading this in here. And we noted, okay, they're starting to transact up here. And if they pull, price can rip back up and retest. And let's just go through it and retest back up to here, 38 and maybe even 40. Okay, this liquidity up here. And areas of clusters and transactions and also liquidity. Okay, the potential was here. Okay, did they break the structure? Not really. They might have broken it by a tick, but it came back into the range in here. We're looking for it to break, and we're looking also for them to bid up in these areas here, and it was good that they pulled here. Okay, so we're open to that. Instead, we go a little bit lower, and now we're back up here, and then we notice they're breaking the structure. We're looking for 40 at that point. Okay, so we saw an order flow change or shift in here. This is structure again. Okay, and we started off this webinar talking about structure on the micro level. This is no different. Okay, this move here is no different than what we talked about on that micro level. And here's the buying back up above it. We're looking for the move to 40. Okay, and they even pulled at 40, and we continued on up. Okay, where did we go? Are we back up at 50? My God. Okay, so a pretty powerful move there. Back up to 50. Let's zoom out here and take a look. All right, we should see some beautiful stops. We haven't really seen too many yet. So where are these weak hands, or they're not the weakest hands, they're already stopped out, but looking for to trigger some stops up here. This looks like a good area here at 55, so I'm still looking to see if we can get buyers to push it into 55 and then maybe 60. Okay, so strong volume here on the buy side. They're on the bid here at 50. We're finding buyers still looking for the push higher up into 55 and 60. Now 60 has been in the book over here, so that's where we're looking for this to go. Okay, up into this liquidity up here at 60, and we should start to see our stops triggered on the upside here as well. Yeah, McLoco, you're starting to anticipate these kinds of moves as well, which is really nice to see. Yeah, liquidity getting filled. Here's our flip of the order book. We saw the buying starting to come in these little areas in here, and then here. So we're looking for the move to 40. Okay, and then we broke that level, and we see buying continue. So we're still looking for more buyers to continue here. Now we made it up to 55 already, but we're still looking for 60 basically. Okay, we're looking for a bigger stop run in here, a squeeze. Okay, so we're bouncing off of this area here, our structure. Okay, this is a consolidation period, a breakout, and a bounce off of it. And now we're looking for buyers up here. Here's our retest. Here's our buyers. Here's our order book. We're looking for the move higher. Okay, up into 60. Makes sense? We even have a nice little algo in there, as you guys can see. This algo in here chasing. Looks like an ignition algo to me, but I don't see them getting filled. All right, one more move, and let's get our push now into 60. No, one more rotation here, looks like. One more. See how the order book, we just didn't have the order book follow up underneath here. That would have been great to see, and then get our push into 60. Yeah, love hearing this, McLoco. This is just great. Here's our move, guys. There's 60. There's our stop run. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Now, from here onward, where's it going? Okay, I don't know. This was the move we were looking for. I would have been looking at these areas for profit in here. Okay, and now if you're holding for a bigger move or bigger picture, well, what is it you'd be looking for? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at structure. in essence, there's really no reason on the higher time frame to get out of this. This is still a strong move. Okay, you can look at a high volume node or swings or previous structural areas in here. 70 might be the next area to take a look at. Okay, and see if we can get in there or up into those areas here. See where we broke down here. It's a little bit below 70. It's around 67 actually. Okay, sorry guys, let me jump over into YouTube. I'm finally getting some questions over there. So I've been following in Discord. Oh, you guys got your own kind of conversations going on in here. Great. I love it. I love you guys looking at these areas of liquidity. Yeah. I mean, it's so essential to understand. And, you know, I just don't get it. Like, I think people are starting to understand when Bookmap first came out, people were just like, oh, no, it's all about traded volume. And, you know, it warms my heart. I mean, it's really great to see people going, no, there's liquidity up at these areas, you know, or, you know, we see this kind of shift in the order book and this reaction. It's the other side of the trade, and it's so essential. It makes up, I mean, the market is made up of orders. Without orders, we don't have anything. I mean, God, it's essential to understand the condition of all of the orders, not just the orders that were market orders and transactions, okay, and volume. Okay, yeah, sure, that they've taken a stance with traded volume. That is true. Well, we can also look at them taking a stance in the order book, getting filled with their limit buys and sell orders in these areas, or iceberg orders, or look at traded volume like this move here. Okay, would this be a surprise here, up to 63 and then a sell-off after that? Okay, why would I think that here? Why would I think that it might pop up above here and then might pop down into this area down here, 56, maybe even lower, 54? What do you guys think? What kind of orders happened up here? And what do those orders typically mean? What is the significance of some of those orders? Mikael, the SVP and CVP, yeah. It was absorbed? No. I mean, we've talked about this many times in the past about what kind of orders these are that transacted up here. These are stops. Okay, here's our stop run. Not all, but it's a pretty big stop run. Okay, you can see 376 here. Okay, we were looking for that for a long time on the way up here. Okay, so and look at the move down. We just talked about 54. Well, we've already traded into it and through it. Here's why though, is we see a stop run up here and we see sellers come back in. This is not new buying here. Okay, these are people getting stopped out. Okay, therefore, if we can come back in, we're looking for the move back down to some of these areas and these clusters. So we talked about 56 and 54. Here's our answer. Okay, so understanding that this is like the kind of the pinnacle here, and it's made up of stops. It's not new buying. So they, you know, now we're looking to see if we can run it the other way, and I don't think it's buying exiting, Rob. I think it's just people getting stopped out. So. And I'm you know, I'm going to cover this because I think this, talk about what these markets are showing, and how to use this new information and this new data that Bookmap has is really offering a level of transparency that I've never seen anything like it. Now, yeah, okay, I work at Bookmap. Let me explain though. Being able to understand that these are stops up here. This was before this move unfolded. Okay, you guys were here. I didn't look at price at that point. I had no idea that it was going to do that. But I did know that these are stops up here. It's not new buying. This is basically the blow off top. Okay, and we see, and I did see sellers come in here. Okay, so I'm looking for them to try to drive it back down into these lower areas in here. All right, so understanding that it wasn't some indicator. Okay, it wasn't some sort of derivative of time, price, or volume, or anything like this, like stochastics and RSI are. It was the orders, this transparency into the order types that were transacting up here. That's what did it, and that kind of transparency is rare. Okay, we've never had that before. The best we had was just price action. You know, talk to Tom. Tom will be in another half hour. He'll get started. Tom was down on the floor. Tom was, I think he was charting with pencil and paper. And I've heard about some of these older floor traders. That's where the point and figure charts. You know, they're just putting in X's and O's on a graph paper. And understanding technical analysis that way. Some were just, you know, marking up their bars. I mean, my God, go read Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. You can look at some of those handmade charts in there. So, and that's all you had, and then trying to put some sort of mathematical process onto that price action and volume. You also had volume, of course, or maybe you were charting volume, maybe you weren't, but the next level after that was putting this into some sort of stochastics, RSI, whatever it might be, some sort of like oscillator or you know, something to try to give some insight of when it is overbought or oversold. Okay, that's just so antiquated and also just can give a lot of false positives, tremendous amount. Instead, look at this here. These are the orders that transacted up here, and we find sellers on the other side. Where's the liquidity? Where are the buyers and sellers? 56, 54. It's 50 as well down here. Did we get down to 50? Yeah, well, that's the next area here. Looking for 50. Okay, it's the condition of the orders. This is not a derivative here. This is just objective truth. This is what happened up here. This is what transacted. Now, why we look at these areas in here and start to read and understand what's going on in here. These are stops. These are not, for the majority, these are not new traders buying in here. It's some. Okay, here's we get a little bit of volatility at 11 here, but looking for that move into 50. Anyway, so we know that there's a stop run in here, and that we are assuming that these are stop losses and people exiting. Where we can draw even more out of this, though, is with that new liquidation indicator we have from the crypto markets. Okay, this really blew me away. So I'm going to cover it kind of personally here, because you know, just to make the point, what this is showing, and then, you know, understanding how these markets are working by looking at a completely different market here at crypto, and then understanding not stops here, but we're understanding liquidations. Where is the exchange actually liquidating traders' positions, and they're using market buy and sell orders to do that. And they're just going to liquidate them out. It's like you're done, and, like, you know, you're out of the market. Okay, and the trader doesn't have a choice here. they hit their margin. They're getting a margin call. Look where these are taking place. Okay, some of these are going to be stops, or similar to like stops, but these are liquidations. Okay, look where they're taking place, at the extremes. Okay, so when you start to see these stop runs, and look at this run here, look at the liquidations in here, okay, and here, right? So this is what's happening. This is what's happening in these markets, and this is, again, it's fact. And we're not making it. This is just liquidations from the exchange. We have that in terms of liquidations. Look at this nice big one here already. Look at that. We're at 17K, 18, 23K liquidated over 11 events here. Okay, now it found its liquidations in here. Right now, did it retest and find more up here? Let's see. If it does, it will continue. If it doesn't, yeah, okay, great, it's finding them, so it's continuing here. It's continuing because it's continuing to find buyers because they're being liquidated. That's what's happening here, one after the other. Beautiful trend here due to liquidations. This is going to be the same as looking at stops and stop runs, etc. here in the S&P E-mini. Yeah, I would love to see this, Matt, on the ES. I'd love to see that liquidation data in here. The CME is not going to give us that information. Yeah, and the you're right, McLoco. The liquidations have been insane in the last few days. I mean, we're seeing several hundreds of thousands of dollars liquidated. It is amazing to see this. I mean, look at this is Binance Futures, of course, where we see the most liquidations because this is a leveraged product here. I was looking at Binance or Bitfinex. It's not a leveraged product, and I saw, like, I don't know, yesterday, like 200,000, 116,000, something like that in some of these areas in here. I'd never seen that before. Well, we've only had the indicator for a bit, but I had not seen that on Bitfinex. There has not been many. Okay, here you get a little bit more in FTX, and then Bybit's kind of an odd one, but we see the liquidations kind of all over the place here as well. Big one here, almost four coins. You know, so about 80,000 or 100,000 up in this area here. 88,000, let's call it. All right. So anyway, my point is starting to understand these markets, and we started off starting to understand these markets by understanding who is lifting the offer and hitting the bid and moving price. We started at the most binary level, and then we moved on out into market structure, and mentioned how that market structure is no different on the weekly chart than it is on the sub-second chart. It is the same thing in essence, in concept. This is what makes the market move. Now we're understanding at a much deeper level at some of these levels. What's making the market move here? Well, these were liquidations that was really helping make this market move here, really assisting it on this move to the upside. Okay, same with stops up in here. And that's why we were looking for, if we got our blow off top here and a huge stop run up here, wow. And we find some sellers on the other side, wow, okay, back down into some of these lower levels here. Okay, we still haven't made it down to 50 yet. Now I'm looking for it again. I was looking for it here, a stop run to the upside. You know, here this is what happened. Stop run down in this area, stop run here, and here everyone that is looking for 50, they're getting stopped out here, and then also some up here. Here's 125 here, here's 39 up here. And then a capture, maybe get some longs going in here, turn around, come back down, hit 50, looking for it here. We had 71 stops already, looking for the sellers to come in and hit into 50 now, and we should see some more stops triggered. And there it is. There's our move, and there we go. 129 stops just hit. Okay, here's the proof, right? We don't need to look at stochastics or RSI. We want understanding of what kind of orders are transacting in these areas here. This is much deeper insight. Oh, you're welcome, Bree. Wow, look at the continuation here. See, the sellers they just keep hitting it here. Okay, they hit another 122 down here, stops. Now you'll note, like, at a certain point, like, look at the buyers start to come in here now. They hit some stops again, and then at a certain point, like, you'll get these kind of mean reversions here. Well, where are they going to trade back to? These clusters of volume in here. So this is 48 is a good area. So you can even look for scalps and counter trend trades back up into these areas in here. You know where the liquidity is, and you know that the stops were triggered. Just look for the buyers to start to come in. Okay, and then look for these swings back up into these areas and these clusters of volume here, and where the liquidity is. Okay, so yeah, there we go. It's almost got there. I think it will. I still think it will. Maybe it can go up to 50 here as well. Yeah, see them pulling here on the offer. Now the thing I don't like is they're not on the bid at a higher level here. Yeah, I want to see that, for a higher probability trade or idea here. So there it is into 40, 49 or so, and then now we're seeing the offer here starting to show quite a bit of size here. What's the reaction to it? Well, we found sellers. Okay, not too many actually, not too many. All right, let's see if we get them now, and the move back down into 41 and 40 here. Yeah, I just want to see more on the offer. This is good up here at 48. I want to see a little bit more, a little bit lower, and to get our sellers in here and to trade it down to 40 here. So whatever your time frame is, I mean, you can see, like, even on the smaller time frame, this is where you could be bullish in these areas here. Okay, on a very small time frame, you had your stops, you see the rotation. We're looking for them on the bid here. We're looking for them to pull on the offer. They're starting to pull in here, and we're looking for that move back up into 48 and then maybe 50. Okay, we got up to about 48 and a half, and that was it, or 3/4, I should say. That was it, and some transacted up there. Oh, thanks, Paul. Okay, and let's see, Kevin, you're looking for 30. Okay, bigger picture. Let's just zoom out here. Yeah, 30 looks great. Yep. Anyway, guys, what's really another thing that's so essential in here is the time frame that you're trading. So Kevin's looking for a higher time frame move into 30. And that's 14 points away right now. Okay, order flow can change on a dime. You can look at some of the geopolitical and fundamental analysis for a verification of that. It can change immediately, or maybe it's some larger player or some liquidity or some options levels. Who knows, right? But what we're going to look at and understand in the order flow is just the majority of the traders. Okay, what kind of condition is it? And that's what gives us the insight. Okay, so a bigger picture in here, you'd be looking for 30 down in these levels here. Never got there. Should have, right? Should have traded back down to it by looking at this, and instead, we see the buyers come in back up into this area here, and then the move higher. Hey, God, I think we were all over this, right? I think. Yeah. We were looking right at it. Okay, we're looking for that move up into here, this 40 level here. So we saw some of the buyers here, and then the move lower, and then buyers back in here. Great, that's when we were looking for our move to 40, and then they pulled at 40. Okay, higher. So anyway, this is so these are the drawbacks into some of your trading strategies or your trading plans. If you're looking for 30 at this point, you might have been stopped out. So how do you kind of protect yourself against that? Right. Well, you may have to zoom in a little bit, maybe look at some kind of smaller time frame structures in here to see where that might unfold, and then manage your trade accordingly. Right, because this is really tricky. You can see that the move back up above here and the squeeze higher. We're looking for that squeeze. Okay, we're looking for, this was a strong move. We're looking for that squeeze back up into 60, and we got it. Okay, it came up here. We saw the blow off top, and then we're looking for the move back down to 54, and then now we were looking for the continuation, and here we go. Okay, so now we're kind of coming up to the European close here. It's 11:15 East Coast time. So maybe we can see the continuation here back down into Kevin's level here at 30. No, stops are not figured into the green and red bubbles. Okay, not whatsoever. This is just the transactions here, and in fact this is not true volume in here, to be honest. Okay, this is market. It's a delta volume. So I'm going to right click on and go to volume dot settings here and show you this. Total volume is actually the true volume here. Okay, it's buyers and sellers. Okay, now since you can kind of look at the reference here, I don't have a problem with it. I use it like 99% of the time. I look at the volume delta, buy minus sell. So it's always going to be either a red dot or a green dot. All right, that's what you're looking at in terms of volume. Okay, the stops and icebergs, well, I mean, they're displayed outside of it. I should say that, well, the stops are in the volume delta here. They're in the volume transactions, of course. So I'm not sure if I'm answering the question correctly here. Stops are in here because that's an aggressor. Okay, it's a buy stop or a sell stop, yeah, it's going to be in the volume dots. Okay, the iceberg will not be in the volume dots. The other side of the trade will, but the iceberg is basically the same as liquidity here. Okay, it's just not in the order book. It's hidden. So this is basically a hidden limit order, and it transacts. It's not going to be part of that calculation here. Okay, that would be the proper way to describe it. Guys, I don't know if I've gotten to all your questions in here in YouTube, but maybe re-ask it if you like. I can't keep up with it all at the moment here. Pro killer is so, yes, it's worth nothing if everyone buys it. I wouldn't say that. I mean, looking at VWAP, if you're a VWAP trader, or if you're looking at point of control, etc. Kevin, I like your idea of this 30 and that liquidity down there. It's going to be kind of a bumpy ride, it looks like, but I think it'll probably get there. No, I mean, in fact, I kind of like it if more people look at it. Yeah, okay. Edges are eroded over time. That's for sure. But and nothing is going to work all the time, and it'll always be shifting back and forth. The thing though is that for example, if you look at a VWAP, okay, a lot of people are looking at the same line. the VWAP. Okay, so I much prefer looking at this compared to something like a moving average or a fib level. This is one, and in fact, it's not even that objective in here because of the way that we have it in Bookmap. You're supposed to have it from the beginning of the session. Okay, and that would be yesterday. East Coast time would have been yesterday at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I'm sorry, 5 p.m. Central. Right, so even this is not accurate, but it's likely pretty accurate because the cash open has, there's so much more volume that trades, so it's likely, pretty accurate. Anyway, the point is here is one line, and a lot of traders look at it and can react to it. If it was a moving average line, who's looking at what time frame? Is it the 50 on the daily? Is it the 50 on the 5 minute? I mean, it's all over the place. Or a fib level. Who's looking at one fib level or another? Fib clusters makes a little more sense to me. Anyway, that's a few things to consider with some of your indicators or your other ways of kind of looking at market structure. All right. You're talking about the liquidity for crypto. Yeah, stops are in the delta. Stops are included in the market. Yeah. So sorry about that. Sorry for the confusion on that one. Yeah. I mean, any transactions here, it includes all transactions. The aggressor here, okay, with the traded volume. Okay, the other side of the trade, the liquidity, that's really that's not included in here. That's a separate thing because maybe some of that liquidity trades, not all of it, etc. It is the amount of liquidity that traded, that's for sure, or hidden liquidity. Okay, but stops are basically an aggressor. Okay, it's a market buy or sell order. What indicator includes crypto liquidation data? Well, it is an indicator in itself. Let me show you. Okay, on our knowledge base, guys. If you have any questions about things, go to the knowledge base. This is the go-to for everything. Go to more, and then go to the knowledge base here. Okay, and this puts you into the user guide section here. You'll see all of it listed here. Go to the add-ons section for some of the add-ons. Okay, not all of them, okay, but there's a list of add-ons in here. In fact, in the user guide here, you'll see a lot of add-ons if you scroll down under number 5 here, indicators. Large lot tracker, imbalance indicator, cumulative volume delta, correlation tracker, etc. Okay. MBO bundle is actually part of the add-ons over here under add-ons, and you'll see stops and icebergs, etc. Liquidity indicator, liquidation indicator is right here. Okay, we have a new one just coming out. You just see it listed at the bottom here, the Dome Pro. Okay, so keep that. You're getting kind of a preview into that right now. It is public, so take a look at that if you like. Okay, we're going to be launching this very, very soon, and we're going to have a really nice dome for you guys. Anyway, click on liquidation indicator here. There's a video, an image, how to install it, what you need, what is it works on Binance Futures, Bitfinex, FTX, and Bybit. Okay, all right. All right, guys, let's wrap it up here. Still, I mean, bigger picture here, we're looking for 30 to transact, looking for the move down. At the current moment, well, we're almost there. We're four or 5 points away from it, but I don't see anything else really from stopping it right now. Just looking for more sellers to come in here. Yeah, they're starting to front run a little bit with the liquidity in here, so that might kind of dampen the move into it, but still just looking for that on the higher time frame. Okay, see how we saw this move or saw them with the liquidity here on the offer at some of these lower levels in here after the move through 50. Okay, and the flip of the order book. Okay, and understanding that liquidity. All right, guys. So yeah, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up there. That really is helpful. And add any comments or questions later in the comments. If you have any questions, we do look at them. And let's see, is there anything else I can go over? Yeah, no, I think that's everything. Doug, I saw your comment in here. Some large block orders in SPY. I'm sorry, I kind of breezed over that, and I don't have SPY up, so I don't have anything to really show in here. But guys, Doug has some videos in the Pro Trader webinar area that you can watch the recordings in there, and Doug is an options trader, so if you're interested in options, go look at some of the material in there on our YouTube channel. I think you will find it very helpful. And Doug is also in the Discord chat, in the stocks, and the well, in all of the rooms. So you can reach out to Doug directly. Now, another thing following right up after this is Tom B. Many of you guys know. So he takes over at 11:30 and will go for typically until the close. Okay, basically every day until the close, which is amazing. What a resource, you guys! Like pretty amazing. Tom is an excellent trader, and he's looking at volume profile. Okay, so it's a very specific way of looking at it. Now, what we covered today, for example, was a little bit of everything, and we're just talking about what makes the market move. But we want to take that in that foundation here, and then use that for any type of trading. See how we thought like this wasn't going to be such an easy ride down into 30 here? I still like the idea, but look at this. You know, looking at the sellers coming in here, starting to drive it lower. Yeah, you know, we're looking for it, but look at the buyers come in, and here's our squeeze, and then looking for a move back to 50 here now, and we're almost there. But I know that's not much of a call, but you know, this is the cluster here, is the figure as well. Heck, we might get back to 55 here. You can look at profiles, you can look at your VWAP here, and maybe we'll get it. And also here's where it dropped from, 55 up here. Okay, so you can start to align these ideas and these concepts here in market structure on very small time frames and also very high time frames. All right, so we'll leave it at that, guys. Thanks for the thumbs up in there. Look for Tom B. You'll see a link right after this webinar finishes here in YouTube. It'll link right over into Tom B's room, okay, or his YouTube video. All right, guys. Yeah, thanks again, everybody, and we will catch up with you tomorrow with Jay Trader at 10 a.m. and we'll be looking at some stocks. Take care.